The Web of Fear, the fifth serial of Doctor Who's fifth season, first broadcast in 6 parts from the 3rd of February to the 9th of March 1968. This is also somewhat of a follow-up to the second serial of this particular season, The Abominable Snowmen, which broadcast in 1967. Now, I am aware that this particular story also recently came out in special edition, with the missing episode of it, episode 3, now fully animated. That is not the version that I've seen, personally. The one that I saw... Okay, a little bit of background for those who maybe don't know. This serial, like a lot of Doctor Who stories from around this era, it was considered lost for many years until a large portion of it was discovered actually in Nigeria. However, on its way back here, episode 3 was apparently stolen by a private collector. So, while most of the serial does exist in live action in black and white form, as it previously did, episode 3, well, for the new edition, it's fully animated. However, for the one that I saw, it's merely a series of stills from the episode, along with a fully audio track. So that's the version that I saw. I have not yet seen the fully reanimated version. So, just a heads up on that. Now, as I said, I haven't seen the new animated version, but this is the version that I saw. And, you know what, I still think it's a pretty good story. So, the second Doctor, played once again by Patrick Troughton, and his companions Jamie McCrimmon, played by Fraser Hines, and Victoria Waterfield, played by Deborah Watling, they narrowly managed to escape from the villain at the end of the previous Doctor Who story, The Enemy of the World, which at this point in time I have not yet seen, but it's on my list. Maybe I'll watch through it someday. But while they're aboard the TARDIS and they manage to get the door shut, the TARDIS is suddenly encased in a web-like substance and they find themselves unable to move. However, the web soon essentially dissolves and they manage to make their way to Earth, where they land in the London Underground in the late 1960s. Now, this does bring up the first point that I want to make about this particular story. I heard about this. I don't know if it's actually true, so take it with a grain of salt, but apparently when they were originally filming this particular story, they contacted the London Underground to say, hey, could we use a small section of the London Underground to film this particular story? And the London Underground said, not really, we can't really do that, sorry. So they built a number of sets to kind of mimic the London Underground as much as they could. But then, upon the episode airing, the London Underground called them and said, we thought we said you couldn't use that. It was like, we didn't, it's sets. I was like, oh, very impressive. Apparently the sets are so accurate that they couldn't really tell the difference. Yeah. But anyway, they land in the London Underground, where they encounter several military personnel, because it seems that a fog is sweeping over London, and also in the London Underground, a mysterious fungus is kind of roaming throughout the tunnels and essentially creating a web that they are trying to destroy with explosives, but nothing they seem to do can really shift it. However, it's not just the web that's the problem, they've also got Yetis wandering about. Yes, the Great Intelligence is back, as previously seen in The Abominable Snowmen in 1967. While down in the London Underground, they also meet up once again with Professor Edward Travers, played once again by Jack Watling, who they had encountered 40 years previously in The Abominable Snowmen. He's kind of been brought in because he knows about the Yetis and they think he might be able to help. To which he is glad to see them again. They also meet up with his daughter, Anne Travers, voiced or played by Tina Packer, a rather wormy journalist known as Harold Shawley, played by John Rollison, who most of the time is just trying to get his hands on the story, but is a lot of the time just getting in the way. There's also Captain Knight, played by Ralph Watson, Staff Sergeant Arnold, played by John Woolgar, a Welsh driver named Evans, played by Derek Pollitt, who, while most humans, when faced with danger, they have the fight or flight instinct, i.e., your body sending adrenaline through your system in order to either fight back or run away. He very much embodies the flight aspect, going, well, if all of this is happening, should we make clear somewhere? Shouldn't we just let these creatures have it? To which, yeah, he does, but yeah, he is a little bit of a coward, but at the same time, he's a likable character enough. But also, this is the first story, this is the introduction for Colonel Alistair Gordon Lethbridge-Stewart, played by Nicholas Courtney. Now, of course, later on he would gain a promotion and gain the title of the Brigadier, but in terms of the Doctor Who story, this is where the Brigadier first started out. He's a colonel, played for the first time by Nicholas Courtney, and while I worried at first that maybe he was going to be, at the start, kind of just like the uptight military personnel, you do really get to see him as a character and how he will progress later on. There's a point in the story where they try to go out into the fog to fight off the Yetis, or large amounts of the military personnel do, and eventually Nicholas Courtney returns, and you can definitely see the horror and terror on his face as he says that all of the soldiers are now dead. Like, the Yeti killed them. He doesn't understand how this is all going on, and you can definitely see a man who doesn't entirely know what to do, but is utterly shaken by it. And I feel a lot of that is just down to Nicholas Courtney's acting. He does really well here. The other thing that I quickly want to mention about this story is that apparently this is one of the stories that Michael Troughton visited the set to. Like, in the Doctor Who extra for the 2014 Christmas special Last Christmas, Michael Troughton mentioned that when his dad was in the role of Doctor Who, he remembered two distinct visits to the set. One was for The Evil of the Daleks, and the other was for this story, The Web of Fear. So I do like that this is a story that does connect more with the Troughton family. This also has become a little bit more of a relevant story with New Who, because the 2012 Christmas special, The Snowmen, is now effectively a direct prequel to this story, as in that story, the Doctor collects up pieces of one of the Ice Governess and puts them into a London Underground map lunchbox, to which he shows this to the Great Intelligence in that story and asks him if he knows what it is. He's like, I do not recognise these markings. A map of the London Underground 1967. Key weakness in metropolitan living, if you ask me, but then again, I've never liked a tunnel. But, as I said, it's the Great Intelligence doing this time, mainly spreading a web throughout the London Underground, I think to kind of gain power, or maybe just to kill the soldiers, but eventually it makes the deal with the Doctor that if it can suck out all the Doctor's kind of memories, experiences, and intelligence for itself, then it will let everyone else go. The Doctor will be left sort of like a child, kind of everything still new to him inside his body, but everyone else will get to live. Although, of course, the Doctor doesn't really believe that. In fact, nobody really does. So they try and come up with plans to stop it. But then things kind of end, well, a little bit of a spoiler alert if you don't want the ending spoiled, but things kind of end on a sour note for the Doctor. As he is ready to go into the machine, he is ready to go through the process, when Jamie they manage to gain control of one of the robot Yetis, and Jamie manages to use it to destroy the machinery, which does in fact save the Doctor's life. However, the Doctor is rather angry at everyone for having done this, while everyone at first kind of thinks, but we did the right thing, didn't we? The Intelligence is defeated. We saved you. It's like, no, I had crossed a wire. No, I would have drained the Intelligence. Everything would have been fine. I would have destroyed the Intelligence once and for all. But no, all we've done now is cut off its link with Earth. It's still a mindless intelligence floating around in space. It could still come back. Which everyone has to reassure the Doctor that he has still done a good thing. Earth is still safe. However, the Doctor knows that the Intelligence could come back, and pretty much 50 years later, it did come back. But yeah, The Web of Fear, it is one that I didn't get to witness episode 3 in its properly, because, as I said, it was mainly just stills from the episode with the audio track. But at the same time, I do think this is a really good story, and it is one that people should check out. It does also end on what I think is a pretty funny note, as when the Doctor, Victoria, and Jamie are making their way back to Covent Garden to find the TARDIS once again, the Doctor says that they should probably be quick about it, which Jamie says, well, why? I mean, the intelligence is defeated, there's no danger now, right? He's like, well, yes, but they might start up the trains again. Which leaves Jamie and Victoria rather shocked. But yeah, have a watch of the Web of Fear for yourself. Make your own decisions on it. If you can get the special edition, definitely check that one out because you'll get to get the full experience of it. But I'd say the Web of Fear is another great story and set up one of Doctor Who's darkest villains. Anyway, until next time, see ya.